ladies and gentlemen. We're about to read to you from the book called Stories of Don Bosco by Peter Lavin.
Adventurous Apostle.
Adventurous Apostle. We put this here.
The Price of a Soul.
The Price of a Soul.
When the dreaded cholera struck the city of Turin, the section that suffered most was Valdoco, where the oratory lay, and where unsanitary conditions favored the disease. Before it had spent itself, 2,500 had been affected by it, and 1,400 had died. Don Bosco had already warned his boys that the disease would cause an enormous amount of deaths. "How can we protect ourselves?" they asked him. "Keep in a state of grace," he told them. "Wear the medal of Our Lady. Recite every day the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Glory, and the prayer to Saint..."
Slow down. Recite every day the Our Father,
the Hail Mary, the Glory, and the prayer to Saint Aloysius.
The Hail Mary and the Glory. And then the Glory. I don't know the Glory. Glory be to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Could that be the glory?
And the prayer to Saint Aloysius Gonzaga, adding the ejaculation, "From all evil deliver us, O Lord."
From all evil deliver us, O Lord. That's the same one as in the Our Father.
The authorities erected huge lazarettos, or field hospitals, to where the victims could at least be taken in off the streets. When they appealed to Don Bosco for helpers, he at once called for volunteers. Rua was among those who responded, and he undertook the added risk of visiting the stricken in their homes. Mama Margaret, when asked by one of the boys for a bedsheet to cover a sick man, could not find one to spare. Like the albs and amices, they had already been torn up to make bandages. In desperation, she seized an altar cloth. "Take this and run," he told him. Although Don Bosco proved an angel of mercy during this reign of terror, in one home and the welcome he received was less than cordial. The visit had been requested by a friend of the family who knew that the man not only belonged to a secret society, but was also in no condition to meet his maker. "See these two guns?" When Don Bosco entered the room, he saw two pistols pointed at his heart. "Therefore, the first one who talks to me about confession."
The guns are for the first person that talks to me about confession. So he's a sick man, but he's in a secret society.
And he's an atheist.
He's not in the condition, that means he has done things, so he shouldn't go meet God, and yet he's about to die. So who told Don Bosco to go over there? Probably his family or his wife, maybe. Alright, go ahead.
"I have agreed to meet you," the sick man went on, "because my friend persuaded me. But before we go any further, I want you to answer me one question. Do you come here as a priest or as a friend? For I detest superstition, and I hate hypocrites." "As a friend, of course." Don Bosco then asked a few simple questions about the man's condition, and began to talk about his affairs in general. Slowly, he drew the conversation round to history, mentioning several famous people, taking care to describe how each of them had died. "I have no difficulty in believing," he said of one in particular, "that no matter how badly he lived, the mercy of God saved him at the end. After all, who can measure the goodness of God?" "Then you must think," said the other cautiously, "that there's hope even for one in my condition." "Why not?" Don Bosco went on to show how God was always ready to pardon the sinner, no matter how grave the sin, how he was even ready to meet the sinner more than halfway. At this, the man suddenly reached out and caught Don Bosco's hand. Don Bosco, tell me the truth. Do you really think there's hope for me? I'm certain of it, and I'm equally certain that God loves you. If that's how it is, can you hear my confession? Don Bosco gently reminded him he would have to sever his connection with the secret society. I promise, he said. Now hear my confession. His friends in the secret society, however, got wind of what had happened and came to persuade him to renounce the faith he had just re-embraced. When two of them entered the room, the dying man's hand stole under the pillows, and once again out came the two pistols. Get out of here, he warned. Get out while you're still alive. But friend, the two men were shocked. Remember the oath you took and the papers you signed? See these two guns, said the sick man. First, I intend to use them on the priest. Now, I intend to use them on you. Get out of here fast. They got out of there fast. Later, he made a public retraction of his errors, and before he died, he received extreme unction. Don Bosco was reminded, however, that in saving the poor man's soul, he had made a bitter enemy of the secret society. It's still a small price to pay for a soul, was his only comment. This whole secret society hates him now.
It's amazing. He helped the man in his faith, and then went back to God. Right? Since we believe that there is a God, we have a difference in. I have a difference with Don Bosco. That I to compare to this saint, right? So, why did the man believe that he had no hope?
He believed he had no hope.
This could break down at any moment. I'm just letting you know, all right?
He had no hope because he thought he had no hope because he was sick and like waiting to die and stuff.
No, I don't think so.
Alright, what do you think?
What if Don Bosco was sick and ready to die and stuff? Would he have any hope? Why?
Because he preached.
And he believes in God. One. I heard somewhere that there is no ruler that can measure the amount of love God has, or the amount of mercy, forgiveness that he has. So, you know the story about there was a man that hired workers, right? Some of them he picked them up at 6 a.m. Later he went back at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 noon, and he got more workers. Finally, at 4 o'clock, he got the last group of workers, and they worked. And he said, earlier he had said, I will pay you, right, for the work that you do. But how nice this boss was. He paid the ones that started working at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 12 noon, right? He paid those guys first. But he gave them, let's say they all made $100 if they worked from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that. And instead of doing that, the ones that started at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, he gave them $100. The ones that started at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 noon, he gave them $100. And the ones, and finally at the end of the line, the ones that started at 6 a.m. in the morning, he gave them $100. And they were complaining. Why?
Because it was a different time, like they had to wake up so early.
We worked more than these other workers. And he said, didn't I say I would pay you for the work that you do? And it's my money. I haven't cheated you. I gave you the money that you worked for. But these other workers that came late, I also give them, right? So when you change the story, it goes to that the boss is like God. Some people don't think about God. Some of them think about it when they're 6 years old and they start serving God the whole time that they're alive on earth. Others, they start when they're 12 years old. And still others, they don't start serving God until they're 60 years old, 70, 80, almost at the point of death. But God forgives their sins and He allows them entrance, whether it's right after they die or a million years from now, whenever He does the, resurrection. So that's how nice God is. I used it yesterday. It's effective. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it doesn't. But it's a good cursor for the tablet here. I think that the tip has to be, I was going to say bigger, rounder, like an eraser of a pencil, that wide.
Yeah, before I had it on this side. Then I said, wait, I can put it on this side and it can be more
pointy.
Yeah, more accurate. But I don't know if it works for that.
So why was it that you decided to come back and read the book with me? And in the previous days you had decided not to read the book. Well, I appreciate all the things that you do for me, and I will do a whole lot more for you because you're doing the things I want you to do. You see? Tomorrow there is work for you. I remember one of our neighbors, I took out the trees. I didn't take them all out. Yeah, I got to get back at the roots too. And there are still other trees standing up, bushes. So I got to...
Is he going to pay you more?
No, he already paid me. I only have like 4 trees left. But the roots, the roots, I was supposed to take them out, but I told him that today I was busy working with someone else. This lady's going to pay me on Friday. I learned that I should take at least three electric saws. What do you call them? Chainsaws. Because one, the chain fell off. I put it back on. That was another 20 minutes, you know. Another one, I had to retighten that thing 3 times, the chain. So if I had 3 chainsaws, it's almost like the guy with the 2 guns. I'd be prepared. Thank you for being kind to me, sir. I love you. Take care of yourself. Do what you're supposed to do every day. Invite your friends. I like the activities that we went to tonight. I was thinking of Tobias. You still see him somewhere? He's not at your school?
Yeah. I see him at lunch.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe he wants to join us. Ask him. You know, I want you to ask him, or else we could go to his house and talk to him. But tell him that they really do go camping and things. All right? Turn off the light for me, sir. You see my flashlight somewhere? Oh, wait, don't turn it off yet. It might be in the bed here. Well, you got another flashlight, son? Oh, I have a thing for you. I want you to be like Batman. Batman goes camping. You know what that means?
Yeah.
No. actually a tire that was invented that holds water. And a little kid just, I think he pulls it or pushes it. It looks like a tractor tire, a little bit shorter than his face, right? But he pushes that, and if we're going hiking and we need water, we could take some water and just put it in there and just go. Yeah. All right, good night, sir. Turn off the light. I don't find the flashlight. See you in the morning. Thank you. I love you. Good night, my friends. See you next time, in the next video. I do recommend the Boy Scouts because they're doing, this particular group is actually going camping and doing things. So it's worth it. I would like to be able to start a fire and cook, things like that. Set up a tent. So that's why I'm encouraging my son to be involved. Good night. God bless you and those that surround you.